my name is Alfredo, for whoever doesn't know me, and thank you for coming tonight. Tonight's topic is actually there's three things that I'd like you to keep in mind. One is readiness, two is availability, and three is obedience. Okay. I wanted to use my son Jacob tonight as a part of this eulogy that I'm going to put together, but they're running a little late, so I'm just going to pretend that he was here. I watch him, right? Jacob's an only child right now, right? And I see him playing with his toys, and anything that he makes these noise. Oh man, he can create all kinds of sound. You know, especially when he's got one beating up. You know, this kid's imagination is constantly going, and me and Connie just look at him and like, wow, man, you know. And sometimes I creep up on him, is he dead? Is he good? He goes, yeah, he's dead, but now he just came back to life, you know. Because I think of what an imagination that he has, and I think back to when I was a kid, you know. I have an older brother, by the way, he's 54 today. Yeah. And I have a younger sister, so I was stuck in the middle. So, and I always, she's young, yeah, all right. But anyway, we'll get her on her birthday. But anyway, I think of Jacob in his mind how I was when I was a kid too. I used to remember in our backyard we had this barrel, and that barrel was a pony to me. And that pony used to go all around the yard, even though all it did was rock back and forth, one of the 50-gallon drums, you know. And I rode that thing a lot. But I think about how my mind was, you know. And it was no different than when I was in prison. You know, when you're in prison and you're sitting in a cell, you have a lot of time to think. Your imagination goes wild in there, you know. And your mind is a source of survival when you're in there too, because it determines whether you go crazy or whether you grasp whatever the situation that arises. And if it's like kind of like a chameleon, it changes colors with every in every circumstance that it gets in, you know. And it's funny, when I get into a book, I find myself in the book as a character. I mean, how many people are like that? You read a book and you become a character, or you become somebody on the sideline or something like that, you know. So when I was in the Bible, when I read the Bible, I put myself as like a character somewhere, even if I'm just a fill-in like they do when they make movies. We see all these people, they're just there, you know, and we're thinking that it's funny, like sometimes we could probably see somebody, like there was a guy in our house who said he was in a movie. We're like, yeah, right, you know, and he was actually in a movie. And which one was it? Anyway, his name was Ralphie, and he actually was in the movie, you know. You'll see, there I was. He had to go by and everything, but anyway, he was a fill-in, you know. So when I read the Bible, I become a fill-in, and sometimes I'm like, I play myself as one of the characters, you know. So I wondered if the Bible ever kept being written about the different people that God was able to use in modern day time or throughout the history of the Bible. Hey. If God, I always wondered that if the Bible became a longer book than it has, because there's so many people that God used throughout the Bible, okay? And then after the Bible, he continued to use people, okay? He still continues to use them today, okay? And I always used to wonder when I was a character in the Bible, if God could ever use me, you know. And I looked at some of the people and characters in the Bible, okay. Noah, for instance, okay. When God got disgusted with the world and what was going on in it, he said, you know what? I'm going to do away with it. I got to find somebody who's just, who can do and who will listen to my commandments to the letter of the T. And he selected Noah, okay? And when God gives instructions, it's funny, you know, he tells you what to do and how to do it. And he's very specific. He's very specific, you know. When he gave instructions to Noah on how to build the ark, he told him exactly what type of use, what type of wood to use, what type of nails. He told him everything. He said, I want this to be so big, so high. I want it to have so many windows. And then when it's built, I want you to bring a set amount of animals in there. Okay? And at the end, when Noah, just before Noah was going to close the door, he said, and Noah did everything that God commanded him to do. Okay? There's one of the things where I was saying about, keep in mind about being available, because Noah had to first be available for God to use him, okay? And also the second part that I told you about is being obedient. Noah was obedient. He listened to God, okay? Moses was a murderer, okay? He wandered around in the wilderness for a long time. And when God called him, he was like, what do you want with me? How could you use me? You know, he said, I can't talk for you. I stutter, you know? And he's saying, I can still use you, you know? And he used Moses in great ways. And we can go down the Bible, you know, and we can go after the Bible, you know? And we can go 2,000 to 3,000 years after the Bible was written. I still think that the Bible is still being written by God up there. We're just not able to see it. But we're all playing a role in the Bible. If we are available, if we are obedient, and if we are there. If we are there. And that kind of like brings me to my story. Because I often wondered when I was in the jail cell and God was giving me this vision, what could you possibly do with me? How could you possibly use me? Okay? I'm a junkie. Or I was a junkie. I was an alcoholic. I was a pothead. I was a cokehead. I was a thief. I was a thug. I was a liar, cheat, stealer. I was, man, pretty much nothing, a nobody. Okay? But when I sat in that room a little bit earlier tonight asking God to put in my heart what he wanted, and he reversed everything that I thought I was going to say earlier, you know, he said, I'm going to use you to bring hundreds of people to these houses. And we've been open for 4 years now, and I just started counting how many people I think came to these opening of those ministries, and I think we're up to about 1,000 people. You know, because we got 64 just in these 4 houses. And that's going to be a turnover this year. When it turns over there, now we're going 120 something, you know. But to think of, I believe we're in about 1,000. So how could God use me? You know, how could he not use me? Is what I have to say. And that's what brings me to my story. You know, I couldn't understand, and my wife couldn't understand, what he was using us for a few months ago. You know, we would have been saving for, just pretty much a year, just to save $2,100 just to go down to Miami. You know, and you know what's funny is that when we went to Miami for the 1 week vacation, we didn't. You know, it started off. We went there on a Monday. It started off on a Sunday. Okay, Connie was pregnant. She was pregnant for twins. We didn't know that. But something happened that Sunday morning, and she had to go to the hospital. And when she went to the hospital, they told her that she had miscarried one of the babies. We didn't even know there were 2. But one of them was growing on the outside. So that one was lost. So we told the doctor we were going to Miami. Next day, is it okay to fly? I said, sure, she should be all right. So we went to Miami the next day, which was a Monday. And then on a Tuesday, she miscarried the next baby. And we couldn't understand why this was happening, you know. And we didn't understand, well, how's this part of your plan, God? You know, I was sitting, you know, next to her in the hospital emergency room while she was, you know, bleeding out of her body, this child that we had hopes and plans for. We picked out a name, we had a future plan, but God had something else planned that we didn't know about, you know. We were going there to get a life, but it wasn't the life that was in Connie's body. At the time, we didn't understand that, you know. We went through some changes while we were down there, and I guess maybe we needed to be away from the ministry to go through what we needed to go through, because we needed some time to understand what was going on. And we got really mad at each other, you know. I didn't know what to say to her. I didn't know how to console her. I just didn't know how. I didn't know what to say to her. And we got mad, and I was mad, and I didn't want to be mad at God. I didn't want to be, you know. But I knew that I had to express my emotions to him, you know. why would you give me this child, not one but two, and then take it away from me? You know, I didn't get an answer. And I was confused. And understanding that I serve a loving, kind, and faithful God, you know, and yet I'm feeling like you're cruel to me right now. What's going on, you know? And I started taking it out. We started taking it out on kind of like on each other, you know? And I gotta tell you, I was an ass. I was a big ass, you know? I hope you got that. I was a big ass. There's no other words for it, you know? But in the next few days, well, we didn't know something was unraveling. We didn't know, you know? We went from Fort Lauderdale to Miami Beach. And we got out of our car, and we had our luggage, and we started walking down the street. We got to the first corner, and first thing out of Connie's mouth said, "Look, Alfredo, no shoes." The story will go along, you'll understand about it, you know? And we seen this guy, he was just like this. He had no shoes on, he had his t-shirt in his back pocket. He looked dirty and drunk, he looked lost. He looked lost, you know? And then we just looked at him, and then we kept going. We got our stuff, we put it away at the hotel, and we were walking to get ourselves something to eat and just explore, you know? Now we're in South Beach, Miami, and spring break, and wow, everything is wild and crazy. It's just like on TV, you know? And so Connie's on the phone talking to her mother, and she's like, "Hey, oh, you know, the weather is beautiful now, you know, and you know, a few Portuguese words in there I don't understand, so I'm like, you know." So I'm walking on the street, and bam, there's this guy, no shoes. He's standing on the corner, leaning against the pole, saddest look on his face, you know. And I just went up to him and I said, "Dude, what's up, man?" And he just looked at me, and he had this look on his face, and he just said, "Man, I am just so hungry," you know. And I said, "Burger King?" He said, "Dude, man, you don't know me. Why would you want to buy me something to eat? You don't even know me." I said, "Oh, you want something to eat?" He goes, "Man, you must be an angel." He starts walking to get inside, you know. And I'm trying not to leave nothing out, okay? So we go inside. He goes, "Really, man? You really want to buy something for me, man? You don't even know me, man, you know?" Now he's getting into me. He said, "You want something to eat, man?" You know, and he gets close to the counter, and the guy behind it, the young kid behind the counter goes like this, you know. And I go, "Don't do that, man. This guy's here to pay for some food." He said, "He ain't got no money." I said, "I got money." You know? I said, "Give this man whatever he's supposed to." I'll just take it. Just give me a cheeseburger and fries. I said, "Give him the biggest meal you got up there." He said, "Really, man? For me? You gotta be an angel, man, you know?" And I'm like, "Listen, man, whatever." You know, he gets the biggest meal. He says, "Man, thank you." And I said, "Enjoy your meal." He said, "That's it, man." He said, "Enjoy your meal. See you later." You know? So I go outside, come on, he said, "Wait a minute, another for you. I'm gonna, you let me on the box. Where am I? I said, "All right, calm down, man. I'm right here." So I expect to buy that guy no shoes and food. He goes, "Really?" He goes, "Where is he?" I said, "I think he's on the side of the building." So we went on the side of the building. And the guy sees me, you know, and he goes, "You're not mad at me, right? He was hungry, so I gave him some of my food, too." I go, "No, I'm not mad at you. I wish I'd have known. I'd have bought him a meal, too, you know." So he's like, "No, man, this guy's my angel, man. He bought me a meal." I said, "I'm not an angel, man," all this stuff. I said, "We got to go, man. I'll see you later, man." So, you know, we went on about our business, and we're walking, and we couldn't understand why we were there, because you know why? It was Sodom and Gomorrah there. You know, there were young girls taking young guys back and forth. Oh, his skin was in. Oh, my goodness. And, you know, so we couldn't understand why we were there. I mean, we really didn't have, what did we do? We laid on the beach mostly all day long. I came back to sun. I was so bubbled up. I couldn't stand the sun after I come up there. And we know we had brutal winter, you know. I'm moving on a little bit faster, you know. A couple nights later, we're sitting on the wall, and we're watching all the stuff go on down in Miami and stuff like that. And we meet No Shoes. "Hey, man, hey, what's going on, man?" You know, like, and we're sitting on the wall, and he's talking to us, and we start talking. So we get to talking. He starts telling us a little. "Well, I'm from Illinois, and I came down to Keys, and I was working in a carnival, and I was doing this, and the guys used to drink, and then I just started drinking, and I lost my job, and here I am." You know, and I told him what I did. He goes, "Really, man? Is that what you do?" "Well, yeah, I help people get their lives back together. You know, he said, I knew God, you know, I just, you know, and he didn't know that he was a prodigal child, you know. So we get to talking, I give him my card, you know, and you know, we meet, next night we see him again, and, you know, and he's with some other fella that's drunk and just talking, the other guy's talking. And he goes, man, he really doesn't shut up much, but you know, it's all good though, man. I'm glad we didn't bring the other guy up here because he doesn't stop talking, man. You know? He might be another trip though, you know. But anyway, so we start to get in this real, you know, we start talking and stuff, and you know, and we're giving him hugs and we're taking pictures with him, and you know, and we're kind of taking a liking to him, you know. We got like 1 day left to come home, you know. So we hang out for a little while that night. You know, we took some pictures of him with us, you know. And the next day, we're leaving for the airport. We're going back to our car with all the luggage and stuff, you know. And Connie says to me, she says, "You think we'll ever see no shoes again?" I go, "Yeah, we probably will, you know." He's like right in front of us, you know. He's walking towards us. It's I believe it was Sunday morning. It was Sunday morning, you know. And Connie's like, "Hey, how you doing?" He goes, "Yeah, good, you know. I'm hungover from last night, man. My stomach hurts, man, you know." And oh, well, let's buy you something to eat, man. He said, "Really, man?" He goes, "Yeah." He said, "I like tacos." He said, "I like tacos." You know, I go, "Yeah, okay." We just happened to be in front of the taco place. I think he knew we were in front of the taco place. He said that. All right, man. All right, so he's with another guy now. So he said, "What about my friend?" I said, "Go buy him something to eat too, you know." So we got him a taco meal, and we sat with him a little while, and we parted ways. We parted ways, you know. And you know, and when I left, I had this sad sense of feeling, you know. But I had a good feeling too, because I said, this is not over. It can't be, you know. And Connie and I talked about it. When we got up here, we told people about it, because we couldn't stop thinking about him. We couldn't. We had him so much in our hearts, not in our minds, in our hearts, you know. And a couple times we discussed him, and we talked about, why do you think God sent us to Miami? Because it was like Sodom and Gomorrah. There was nothing there for us. There were no Christians down there chasing each other. There were young kids chasing each other up and down with the bikini bathing suits. I mean, I went to one part of the beach where there was, all of a sudden there were no tops. They were all young girls, and you know, and it was all nightclub after nightclub, music, you know, and smoking weed, drinking, and everything was so open, and we couldn't understand that. We couldn't understand it. But we just kept this guy, just wouldn't get off of our hearts. And we kept telling the people the story. So Connie and I said, you know what, we're going to go get this guy. But we're going to have to wait for our income tax to come, our income tax return. And our income tax just kept getting delayed, you know. And it was in that hallway when someone came up to me and said, "Do you guys ever take a vacation?" And I said, "Yeah, you know, we had one recently, and it wasn't really a vacation, you know." He said, "Well, I got this place in Maine, man, you would just love it, just used to. There's a brook or a lake up there, and it'd be totally isolated, it'd be perfect for you to do it." I said, "Well, we've had this guy in our heart. We went to Miami a couple of months ago, and we'd like to go out there. We just want to get this guy and bring him back. And we'll take a vacation at the same time, you know." So he says, "Wow, that's really great, you know." And he says, "Wow, you know." And I told him about, you know, the income taxes being delayed and stuff like that. Anyway, I got a call from him a couple days later, maybe a week, somewhere around there. He says, "I told my wife about what you told me." And he says, "I'd like to pay for you and your wife to go down there and have a vacation and bring this guy back with you. How much do you think it would cost?" And I said, "Well, my wife, she gets on, you know, last-minute hotel, last-minute flights, and all of this stuff here. We should get a good deal." But anyway, we told him how much. He wrote us out a check. And he said, "Go get him," you know. And I said, wow, you know, God is really making a way. God is really making a way, you know. And all along, I knew He would. And Connie, we were getting into fights about this. We gotta go down and get this guy. We gotta find out why the delay is in our income taxes. Let's borrow some money, and you got some money in your mattress. And I said, I know that money. We get paid. We're getting into fights. We gotta go down there. I said, we cannot go until God says it's time to go. His timing is perfect. If he wants us to go to Florida to bring back this gentleman, it'll happen. Gavin, I said, don't interfere with what God is doing. Gavin, we'll take a little longer than that. Listen, you don't know what it is, but this lady gets set on something, we're going down there. And I said, in God's time. And then when I told her, I said, listen, somebody's going to pay for us to go down there. She's like, what? Yeah. See, God's timing is everything. It is everything. It is perfect. It is perfect, you know? So, we get the tickets. We set the date. We were supposed to leave Friday morning from Worcester. That's when that storm came in. While we were asleep, they canceled it, sent us an email and said, you're not leaving to Worcester. Call the airport, you go to Boston. This lady has the idea. Well, the flight leaves at 1, let's get there early. You know, how early? 8 o'clock. 8 o'clock in the morning, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 1. 5 hours at Logan Airport. We couldn't get Wi-Fi. Sam, get away from chicken iPads and something shit. You know? Like all of this, man. We were at it for the last 5 hours. The flight gets canceled because some other plane was sitting there in California and it had a malfunction, so they're gonna take them and put them on our plane. Then that plane gets fixed, they want to put us on that plane and go, that plane's been sitting there for 5 hours and major malfunction. They told us to sit on that train. Now we're gonna go on this plane. I said, I don't feel right going on that plane. And I was like, I don't want to go on that plane. Everybody on that plane is going back to California. I'm like, we're going on the right flight. So finally, we get on the plane. We can't sit together. So she's 4 rows up, I'm 4 back, which is okay with me. But anyway, we get there at 5:30 at night. We were supposed to get there at 10:30. We get there at 5:30 at night. We get our rental car. We're supposed to bring it to this place at 4 o'clock. 4 o'clock's already gone. We get there. Now we get to fight about taking the car. Now we got to take the car. The guy tried to beat me for $25 right off the rip when I didn't have 5 minutes. I'm like, okay, we got to take the car, drive all the way to Miami International Airport. I said, we ain't going to have no time to look for this guy tonight. By the time we get back, then it's the fireworks is going off. We don't see nothing on the Look, honey, big fight. The whole day, we just picked on each other. We blew each other. Man. Then you gotta spend $35 to get from the airport back over here. And I'm like, wow. You know, then they give us this hotel room, which we don't even want to talk about that. It was okay. Elevator broke down, you gotta walk 7 flights down, you know. But anyway, we finally, let's go get something to eat, we'll feel better. We go get something to eat at another restaurant. We sit down at Burger King. First we go to Burger King, maybe we'll find no shoes over there and no luck. But we're sitting there and, you know, we got some food left over. I said, look for him. She said, yeah, let's go look for him. So we start heading for Ocean Drive. We go over there and we see a whole bunch of people who look like could have been him. They're all knocked out and drunk, and I'm like, that's not him. That's not him. Hey, buddy, is that you? No, that's not him. And we sit down for about 15, 20 minutes. They're all right, we'll head back to the motel. If we don't find him, we'll start again first thing in the morning, you know? We start going, look, that's not him. But there he is! This girl over there. That's not him, he's too old. He's got this big beard. He looks like he's old. That's him! Look, he's got no shoes and no t-shirt. I get over there and I go, that's him. He's got this big beard and he's get drunk. I'm like, hey, no shoes, Kevin. It's my angel! My angel! Like, no, man, it's just me. He goes, yeah. He goes, there's the other one. The other one. It's like, you know, funniest thing in the world says, hey, man, I was just thinking about you. I was trying to get into rehab. They don't want to take me in, man. What y'all here for, man? It's okay if you, really? Look like Gomer Pyle, man, you know? Really? You came all the way from there down here to get me? I said, we came to get you, man. And I said, you want to come back? He said, yeah, man, I'm tired of this, man. I'm tired. I said, we got you some food. Really? You got me some food? And he starts eating it. Y'all really came all the way down here? You gotta be angels. You start with the angels, you know? And, you know, we were really blessed to have him, you know? We went over to a bench and we started sitting down there. And he starts telling us about how he was locked up in jail for a few days. He went down the Keys. And he started telling us all the things that were happening up to the day we got there. Had we have gone down there any sooner, we may have missed him. Without a doubt, we would have missed him. You know, had we have gone down there any sooner, you know. And I told Connie, I said, it's in God's timing, perfect. It's perfect, you know. And I gave him my card, I put my number on there, and she said, hey, I want you to call me morning call. I said, you told me he's coming with us. He's not leaving us, you know. I said, okay, vacation's over, you know. So anyway, came back to the motel with us that night, you know, stayed with us. We spent one day there. We left the next morning. We drove all the way to Savannah, Georgia. We stayed there for a night, had a good meal, and you know, got a good chance to talk to our new person and stuff, you know. And we made it back up here, you know. And so for you guys who don't know who we're talking about, that's Kevin No Shoes right here. Stand up, Kevin. Come on. This isn't about what Connie and I did. It's what God used us to do, and the other people who provided the way. See, when God's going to use you for something, He's going to make a way. There's going to be nothing that's going to get in the way. He will always prepare the way. You know when Jesus told one of His disciples to go get that donkey. You know, I mean, how could the disciples? How do you know where the donkey was? It was tied up. Okay. When King Saul, before he was Saul, went looking for his donkeys that had his uncle's donkeys, how did Samuel know that he was looking for the donkeys? How did Samuel know that Saul's uncle was looking for Saul? You know, because God has a plan for everything that He does, and it is untouched. It can be. It is untouched. It can't be touched by anything or anyone. If you're available, He can use you. If you want to be used, He can use you. So you have to want to be available, you know. I'm not an angel, Kevin. I'm not, you know. I'm just somebody that God uses. I'm available, you know. I am available. And He makes everything perfect in His time, you know. The details that we read about in the Bible, we don't pay attention to them, you know. Like, I didn't know what was the big deal about the genealogy of people's lives, or people's families in the Bible, you know, especially the one of Jesus, you know, because I couldn't understand how Jesus was going to be a descendant of King David, because he was born through a female, you know, and it usually becomes, you know, but anyway, I studied it, and it was of importance. I didn't understand why Noah had to use specific cubic feet of cedar wood and of different woods, and because God wanted to see if we could pay attention to details. It's the smallest things that we miss, you know, and how He's trying to use us is how His plan will work out. See, if we'd have gone any sooner down there, and by the way, when we came back, our income tax check was waiting for us. So God's time was perfect because we was broke when we came back, you know. But it was all good though, you know, because had we had gone down there at any other time, it wouldn't have happened. God's plan would not have unfolded the way that it did, you know. So we really have to pay attention to what God is trying to tell us, you know. There's a mission that is put out, and I say this many times for each and every one of us. There's something that God wants to use each and every one of us in this room for. And it's something that only you can do, Joy. It's only something that you can do, Timmy. It's a specific thing that it's a task that was designed. And you have to be ready, you have to be willing, and you have to be faithful. You have to be obedient to Christ. That's the only way that He could use you. You know, for somebody to come up to me and say, you guys look like you need, do you guys ever take a vacation? You guys look like you could use a vacation, you know? When we went to Miami that first time, there was no real fun. I mean, we couldn't, and we weren't chasing each other up and down. That's what, it was spring break. That's what everybody was doing, chasing everybody up and down. There was nothing in there for us. And we hung out on the beach all day long, you know? And that was about the length of our vacation, you know. And we went down there this time and we didn't have a vacation because you know what? we actually went down there to get this guy. That was the whole task, you know, but the vacation was the excuse to go down there. So it still worked out fine, you know. I'm still sore from 17 hours of driving straight through, but you know what? When he got up here, it was all planned. Because listen, he got up here, within 3 hours, he was already in detox. And within a few days, he was already in passages. And within a week, he was back and opening heaven's doors. You know, everything is working out according to God's plan. And everything that God has for this man henceforward, it was all a part of his plan from the beginning. You know? When a prodigal child returns home, the angels rejoice. There's a party in heaven. And that's what happened when Kevin returned home to Christ. You know, he was once lost, now he's found. You know, there's no more darkness in your life. It's where you choose to live, the light. You know, and it's all a part of his plan. You know, there's something that you will be taking from this point on, and I hope that you grasp it. I hope each and every one of you grasp it. There's something that God wants to use you for. Are you available? Do you want to do it? You know, you need to pay attention to him. You know, Psalm says, what the Psalm says, be still and know that I am God. He wants to be exalted. He wants to use you to exalt him in a mission that he will choose for you. So tonight, it's about what God can use you for in your life. What he wants to use you for. And when he does, and if you're able to, he'll make it happen. He'll make it happen. You know? Kevin, I wish you the best. I wish you the best. I wish all of you the best. And I hope that God, whatever he's going to get ready to do and use you in your life, I hope that those three things become a part of it. You know, become a part of it. And so I want to close with prayer. And I want to thank everybody that had us in their prayers while we took this journey down there. Everybody that helped make this happen. And I want to thank God first and foremost. And I'll close this out in prayer. Heavenly Father, I just want to thank you that I was available and that you chose to use me. Out of all the people that you get to use in this world, this one task you chose for myself and my wife, and everybody else that played a role in it, I just want to thank you. And I want to praise you for it, Father God. There is no other like you. We can never praise you enough. We can never love you enough, and we can never be more faithful enough to you. As faithful as you are to us, Lord, and as dumbfounded as sometimes we are to you, Lord, you still love us, you still have mercy on us, you still forgive us, Father. I thank you for Kevin being a part of opening heaven's doors, and I thank you that he has a pair of shoes today, Father God. Amen. And all of God's children say, Amen. God bless.